Prime Minister stressed on the need for resilient global supply chains, mentioned also India's bold economic reforms, the lowering of the cost of doing business with India. He spoke about innovation in India, the efforts at developing a sort of a culture of innovation. He invited the G20 countries to make India their partner in economic recovery and supply chain diversification. I think in some senses, the Prime Minister also brought out the fact that despite the challenges of the pandemic, India continued to be a trusted partner in the context of reliable supply chains. He spoke about the IT sector, the BPOs, where we did not allow the pandemic to come in the way of our contribution in the overall chain, in the global processes. The Prime Minister expressed satisfaction over the G20's decision to come up with a 15% minimum corporate tax to make the global financial architecture more just and fair. You are aware of the 15% minimum corporate tax, which ensures that companies don't go to the lowest possible tax haven in order to minimize their tax burden, and that the large multinational corporations pay their share of taxes to countries that they are located in. Here, I think it was also pertinent to mention that it was in 2014 that the Prime Minister had first proposed this idea of a minimum corporate tax in order to prevent, to some extent, evasion of taxes or, the concept. 2014, the G20 summit, was it Osaka? 2000. The 2014 G20 summit is when the Prime Minister spoke about this. He first mentioned the concept. So today there is satisfaction over the fact that the G20 has actually adopted this. This has become a global norm, and I think this is a very important step in ensuring more rationalized global tax structures and better cooperation in the international domain when it comes to issues like tax evasion, money laundering, corruption, so on and so forth. Some of the issues that the G20 is very, very currently dealing with. Prime Minister conveyed that India has not only vaccinated over 1 billion of our citizens, but more important is that we are ready to produce over 5 billion vaccine doses by the end of next year. This obviously will be available not only for our citizens, but the rest of the world. And that this is our own contribution to reducing, as I mentioned, vaccine inequities, especially in the developing world. Prime Minister held two formal meetings. You would have seen photographs. He has met all of the G20 leaders that have come there. They've exchanged notes, but he had two formal meetings. One was with the President of France, His Excellency Mr. Emmanuel Macron. And in that context, the Prime Minister welcomed the European Union's Indo-Pacific strategy. You recall that the Prime Minister had met both the President of the European Union and the European Union's Council and the European Union's Commission. And yesterday, and spoken about the Indo-Pacific strategy, he did say that France had played an important role in facilitating a European Union Indo-Pacific strategy, and he thanked the French President for his leadership role in developing this strategy. The two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to cooperate in the Indo-Pacific, to find new and innovative ways to cooperate to further the objective of free, open, and inclusive rules-based order in the region. There was also a discussion on the forthcoming COP26 and climate change-related issues and the need to focus on climate finance. Prime Minister invited President Macron to visit India at an early opportunity. The next meeting of the Prime Minister was with the Prime Minister of Singapore, His Excellency Mr. Lee Hsien Loong. Prime Minister has met the Singapore Prime Minister on a number of occasions, but this is their first meeting in the post-pandemic period. I think this is a good opportunity for the leaders to link up with each other. With the Prime Minister of Singapore, Prime Minister discussed global efforts to combat climate change in the forthcoming COP26. They discussed efforts to contain the COVID-19 pandemic through expedited vaccination efforts and ensuring supply of critical medicines. In that context, the Prime Minister thanked the Prime Minister of Singapore for his assistance and that of the government and people of Singapore during our second wave of the crisis. When we were able to source a very large number of our requirements in terms of ISO cryogenic tankers, concentrators, oxygen equipment from Singapore. Prime Minister Lee congratulated our Prime Minister on the rapid vaccination drive in India. They discussed ways to enhance people-to-people ties, in particular resumption of early travel between both countries, which is, as I mentioned yesterday, in terms of facilitating travel of our citizens to countries that are partner countries. I think the discussion with the Prime Minister of Singapore was particularly relevant. Prime Minister will attend a formal cultural event and a leaders' dinner this evening. Tomorrow, as you're aware, there are 2 more sessions of the G20 on climate change and environment, and a working lunch on sustainable development. In addition, the Prime Minister will also attend a side event hosted by President of the United States, His Excellency Mr. Joe Biden, on supply chain resilience. He will also hold other bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the G20 summit. Thereafter, the Prime Minister will depart for Glasgow, where he will attend the COP26 summit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the, I see some. Look, today time is actually very tight. We'll take the questions. We'll start ones. Yeah, please go ahead. Please keep it brief today.
Manishan, sir, the meeting with the Pope lasted for over an hour. I mean, you spoke about some major issues you should discuss, poverty, climate change. Could you give a flavor of the conversation? And this issue of religious freedom, did it figure in the discussions? Could you just broaden the briefing on this? And the second part is, in the meeting with the French leader, French president, did AUKUS figure in the discussions? Or France expressed an interest in joining the Quad in some way or supporting the Quad, something to that effect. Thank you.
Please.
Sir, Pranay Upadhyay from ABP News. क्या आज की G20 की बैठक थी उसके अंदर ग्लोबल एनर्जी क्राइसिस को लेकर भी कोई बातचीत हुई है? क्या पीएम ने इस मामले को उठाया है कि दुनिया भर में जो एनर्जी क्राइसिस या एनर्जी के प्राइसेस बढ़ रहे हैं उसको किस तरीके से हैंडल किया जा सकता है?
Siddhant.
Sir, during his intervention, Siddhant from Beyond, sir, during his intervention, how much focus was there on climate issue? Because this year's G20 is all about COVID crisis and climate change, and we have seen an increasingly divided world when it comes to climate change over climate financing as we go to the Glasgow climate meeting.
Sir, Pragya from ANI, also about Pope's meeting, you said that he has invited and Pope has accepted the invitation. So is there a timeline to the visit of Pope to India and also significance of it?
So.
Okay, let me start by answering Manish's question. The meeting between the Prime Minister and His Holiness the Pope was a very personal meeting. In other words, they spent time on a one-to-one basis. I know that the meeting was characterized by warmth and candor. Both, I think, the Pope and the Prime Minister spoke of a number of issues which, as I mentioned, are topical and relevant to societies all over the world. How do you deal with this issue of the COVID pandemic? What have we done in terms of our own health preparedness, best practices in India, also issues of which are relevant to the world, like climate change, the environment, I think there was also a conversation of a number of unique steps that we have taken in our own way to help communities and people in distress all over the world, whether it was facilitating evacuations in Iraq or from Yemen or from different parts of the world, Afghanistan. I think, and of course, His Holiness took a lot of time to explain to the Prime Minister about the Vatican, about their work, about some of the interesting artifacts and memorabilia that is there in the Vatican. It's like a museum. It's a very, I would say, place which has housed, centuries of religious and spiritual objects, of reverence for people all over the world. So it has to be seen in that context. I can tell you that no issue of the sort that you have alluded to was ever discussed. As I said, it was not a discussion on any of issues of that nature. It was a discussion which was completely devoid of any extraneous issues. It was confined to a very, very warm and I would say very convivial conversation between the two leaders. Now, as far as the meeting with President Macron is concerned, I do recall that AUKUS came up, but very tangentially in the conversation. It was not a major subject of conversation or topic by itself. There was no discussion on Quad whatsoever. प्रणय, आपने G20 के बारे में ये ग्लोबल एनर्जी क्राइसिस का मुद्दा आपने पूछा कि अगर ये मुद्दा रेज हुई थी मीटिंग में, आपको पता है कि जो पहला मीटिंग आज G20 की हुई वो सिर्फ हेल्थ इश्यूज पे थी, तो ये शायद एनर्जी क्राइसिस उसका इतना रेलेवेंस नहीं था, और हो सकता है कि ये बाद में किसी मौका अगर मिले तो ये इसका चर्चा जरूर होगी, पर आज नहीं हुई है इसकी। Siddhant, you spoke about a possible climate divide, or rather a divide in the G20 on climate-related issues. I don't see it that way. I think G20 represents countries that have, I would say, prominent countries all over the world that contribute greatly to the global economy and also, more important, dealing with the problems that the world faces. And I think the endeavor of the leaders is to find solutions. Obviously, there are different ways of finding those solutions, but everybody knows that climate change is an issue. So you may have a different view about how to tackle the issue of climate change. You may feel that there is more emphasis on one or the other areas of climate change. But the fact that climate change is a problem for the globe to face is there. I'm sure, there's another full day of meetings which are there. I'm sure at the end of this all, we will find that the G20 will have solutions, will have outcomes that represent a consensual view of the organization. So that's all I can say for now on this issue. I think from ANI, the question was whether the Pope, about the Pope's, the invitation that the Prime Minister extended to the Pope.
The timeline.
If there is timeline, when will he be?
That's right. So, we didn't the Prime Minister and the Pope did not discuss the dates of the visit. Prime Minister said, please visit India at your earliest convenience. Obviously, the actual details will be worked out through diplomatic channels. The fact of the matter is the Prime Minister did invite the Pope. The significance of the invitation is well known to all of us. The last papal visit to India was in 1999 when Pope John Paul II visited India. It is obviously going to be a very important visit, both for India to receive His Holiness and for the Pope to visit India. As I did mention to you, the Pope was delighted to visit India. He has a although he's never been to India, he has obviously a great sentiment about our country, and he said that this is really the greatest gift that you could give me. I'm looking forward to my visit to India.